All right, I know you already heard it before. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony.
Yeah, so my testimony is that I got out of the military a few years ago out in Colorado. Went through years and years of struggle getting out of the military, PTSD, anxiety. When I was in the military, I was a medic in the Air Force and actually got out and didn't want to go into the medical field because of a number of bad experiences I had in the medical field. And it left me really confused getting out of the military, not sure as to what I was going to do for work, what job I was going to do. And it got to a point where between social anxiety and just situational anxiety and PTSD, I couldn't maintain a job because of anger issues and frustration with a number of things. And it got to a point where I was literally homeless, and I was homeless for a point of about a year and a half. And I mean, I was scrounging change and collecting pocket change and doing what I could and selling drugs literally just to get money that day so that I could feed myself and feed my dog. And there'd go days where I wouldn't eat and I would just be clutching my stomach, literally starving and doing everything I could just to make sure my dog would eat. And it lasted about 6 real hard months towards the latter half of that, where I just got so fed up with how I was living day to day and what my life was like and how hard I was going through this self-induced struggle when I was totally responsible for my own situation. And I was losing faith in God because I felt as if a child of God, that it was in a sense His responsibility to kind of keep my head afloat, and I wasn't taking my own responsibility and accountability for the position I was putting myself in, and I didn't want to accept the fact that I was responsible for everything that was coming my way in life. And it finally got to a point where I just sat down on my knees and prayed one night, and I had a pretty serious confession to God, and was upfront about all of my own issues and how upset with I was with my current situation and how down I was just living that kind of life. And I made a choice that the next day I was going to turn my life around, and I moved back to Florida. And within a month and a half of being here in the state of Florida, I've secured a job, got back on my feet, I've quit smoking weed, quit drugs, I've sobered up, cleared my head up, improved my relationship with God, and started getting involved in the same church that I was going to when I was a kid. So, my relationship with God has improved, and it's just as a reminder that keeping faith in God can be the one thing that really keeps you here. I mean, there's so many instances where I was very grateful to just have my life and shouldn't be here today. And if I didn't have just a remaining faith in God, like there's no chance I would even be sitting in this chair to tell you this story. So I'm definitely very grateful for God's grace and His forgiveness for sure. So I come from a pretty spiritual family. My parents raised me Southern Baptist, Pentecostal, and all. So I definitely grew up going to church every Sunday and believing in God and knowing that keeping faith can be the one thing that keeps you here. And if I didn't keep my faith in God, then, like I'm saying, there's definitely no chance that I'd be sitting in this chair to tell you this story today. So just keeping faith and having that willingness to turn your life around and better yourself. Because, I mean, it's a daily commitment to better yourself, and that's where I'm at these days. Is I wake up and I've got daily affirmations that I look in the mirror and that I say, and things that I affirm that I'm going to achieve in life, and success that I'm going to achieve. And it's just repeating it in the mirror to myself, repeating it for the sake of saying it out loud and hearing it. If you're not consistently making that effort and putting in that work to better yourself, you won't see the results. And results has kind of become my favorite word. I mean, that's the one thing that matters most in life, is you can say things and do things and have wants, but at the end of the day, what are the results? So, yeah, man, that's my testimony.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
It's been happening more and more lately. I just tell people about how I decided to listen to the thought. Was it me? Was it God? That I want to improve my life. And in a sense, you know how I said when I was at the oil change place, that we attract what we are. And he's literally telling my story. So I thank God for that. Be encouraged, everyone.